Belichick's lost a step to me.
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this.
This is Anik Squared.
All right, week 11, Anik Squared. I'm taking the reins. I'm taking control. Good to have you with us. Jon Anik, identical twin brother Jason Anik over there.
Sup, yo?
It is week 11, and that would mean it's episode 11 of Anik Squared, presented by DraftKings in association with Toyo Tires. So I'm taking the reins just for 1 week because today is the christening. Not of a water pipe, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it clean, right? Right? So this is the christening of our new studio here in Boca Raton, Florida. It might be in my master bedroom. It might not be, but it's great to be with you fine folks. Playing director a little bit. I just did a camera switch, but we have a lot to get into today. We're very excited about this studio. It's going to be a constant evolution. There's my camera 3. Right there it is. See, I cut to that shot. Now, of course, our executive producer, Cody Merrow, is going to handle all of this in post-production. But were we ever to go live and I have to play director, you know, oh, you want the single? Oh, you want the fucking 2-shot on Jay? Oh, you want the fucking 3-shot? We can do that. Cody's going to kill me. I love it. But no, it's very exciting. This will be a constant evolution, but we tried to make this look as squeaky clean as possible. Thank you to Mike Jones and our friends at Media Zone for helping all of the...
Who are your other friends at Media Zone besides Mike Jones?
Mike Phil Same.
Oh,
Mike Phil Same. Thank you, fellas. Thanks to Mike and Mike for getting us up and running. So we have a lot to get into today. And obviously, we're going to give you 10 picks against the spread in the NFL. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton. I'm very excited to be in this new space.
I appreciate it. Well, I certainly thought this space would be christened on the Anik and Florian podcast. However, when you do that show, you're by yourself. So might as well christen it on a day where you got someone to look at. I tell you, these new cameras, though, they certainly reveal everything. Always a lot to talk about.
You need some makeup, I think, for week 12.
I hear that's all right. That's all right. We just need a little beard. That might do enough. Anyway, for those of you joining us for the first time on Anik Squared, each week we pick 5 games against the spread, going against each other, with our ultimate goal being to get ourselves set up and ready to go for the Westgate SuperContest, which is a huge contest. I'm going to get a little more into the contest today on the show because it really is the juice that gets this show going. And I think a lot of people, if they see this show, would want to sort of join this contest. But we're going to talk back a little bit about week 10 before we give you the picks for week 11. So let's roll. Football fans, as the upcoming season continues to unfold with uncertainty, there's no playbook for players, fans, or coaches. Navigating this uncharted territory requires a focus on safety above all else. So when it comes to ensuring a smooth journey, no better route than a quick slant to Toyo Tires. Whether you're tackling the rugged mountains of Denver or cruising the streets of LA, Toyo Tires has you covered. With options like their open country tires for challenging terrains or the sleek Celsius Sport tires for city driving, you can ride with confidence and zero regrets, backed by their 500-mile or 45-day trial. This fall, this winter, embrace the freedom of the open road. Visit toyotires.com to locate a dealer near you. Toyo Tires, open roads await. How's that sound on that new microphone?
Outstanding on the Shure microphone. And I will tell you, too, this multi-view is pretty tight. We're going to be doing the Anik and Florian podcast from here. Jason will be doing Remember the Show, his video podcast with Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad from the studio. So very excited about all the possibilities, incidentally.
All right. So we're going to get back, talk a little bit about our picks from week 10. Good week for you. 3-1-1. Overall takes you to 25-24-1. I was 3-2, so you did sort of get me by half a game. So my 4.5 game lead down to a 4-game lead.
I sort of got you. I mean, I got you a little bit by half a game. It's mathematic.
Fair enough. All right. I'm going to go through your 5 plays very quickly. Your 1 loss, Titans +1 at the Buccaneers. That was the game we were on opposing sides. Your push, Lions -3 at the Chargers. Your 3 hits, Vikings +2.5 versus the Saints. 49ers -3 and Steelers -3. I have a lot to say about your selections. Do you have any one in particular that you'd like to get after from last week?
Joshua Dobbs. We might very well come back with Joshua Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings against the Denver Broncos in the next week. But no, overall, feel pretty good. The Titan selection, oftentimes you lean more into the losses than the wins, right? And
yeah,
gosh, man, Will Levis and the Titans just did not look ready for prime time on 3rd down and in a lot of big down situations in the game. But it is what it is. You know, shame on me for pushing for that one to be in the contest. But overall, 3-1-1, we will take every day of the goddamn week.
My frustration with your 5 picks is the 49ers and the Steelers were both selections of mine as well that I moved off. Neither got into the contest, both hit. That frustrates me a little bit. I'm going to move on to my 3 and 2. So I had Falcons minus 1.5. And I know you don't like when I say this, but I did not like this as much by Sunday. And while I was excited that Kyler Murray was coming back, James Conner, when I found out he was coming back and you get that backfield, both guys back, it was a close game. But even at the end, when Arizona kicks a field goal, I still wouldn't have covered that 1.5, even if the Falcons had won the game. Ravens minus 6 was an alternate selection that I punched in. You had reservations on about both of these teams, Ravens and Bengals, with that Thursday night game creeping. We come at you Thursday. That game is tonight. Both of them lose outright at home with, as significant favorites. So I lost the Ravens minus 6. They had a 14-point lead with 11:37 to go. Feeling pretty good that they covered the 6, lose outright. So the Browns scored the last 16 points of the game. And then my 3 hits Raiders plus 1.5 versus the Jets. Lucky there, frankly, but going against the Jets has some good results. Buccaneers plus 1 versus Titans. I was opposed you there, but I had my doubts. And then the Texans plus 7 at the Bengals. This closed, I think, at 6.5. CJ Stroud, man, I know you wanted to talk about this guy. Do you think he'd be lighting it up in Carolina right now had he gone number 1 overall?
100%. I just want to read this to you very quickly. So Jim Brown is the only rookie to win the NFL MVP, 1957. Since then, the only rookie to finish even top 3 in voting over the past 35 years for NFL MVP, Randy Moss in 1998. Now, CJ Stroud's probably not going to win the MVP. And there have been a lot of national radio conversations about how many quarterbacks are there right now that you would actually take over him. Maybe you land anywhere between 8 and 11 guys, right? Justin Herbert, do you take over CJ Stroud for the next 3 or 4 years? I think I probably do, but gosh, CJ Stroud passes the eye test. I mean, of course. And at some point, it'll be reflective in the betting line. I actually think this week we've seen some money move towards Houston. And I think it's just because at some point you just have to concede. This guy is the real deal. And if the Carolina Panthers could do it all over again, they would not have taken Bryce Young. And it's crazy the extent to which Bryce Young was a shoo-in. Right? I mean, you talk about the eye test and you know how much I love Mel Kiper Jr. I don't know what side of the quarterback situation he was on, but how about this CJ Stroud? I mean, tell me people didn't sleep on him a little bit.
Well, and Bryce Young, it's like the eye test for us novices that look at this guy. It's like he looks young. And, for me, it's like I love some of these guys that are truly tapped into college football in ways in which we are not. Those guys, but not only the guys that are really tapped into the NFL draft. I'd love to, Mel Kiper Jr., see what he really thought. But I do think the situation in professional sports, I've said this before, D'Amico Ryans knows exactly what he's doing. As much as I love Frank Reich.
Oh, I don't love Frank Reich.
I don't know. All right. So SuperContest picks, we go 2-2-1. And just to refresh the memory of those of you who didn't join us, we did go 5-0 in weeks 8 and 9. So we were feeling a little bit of juice. This contest will come back and bite you. A 5-0 is the closest thing to an 0-5 is a 5-0.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean. We were feeling a little juice. Were we feeling confident?
Yeah, I was feeling a little juice. You know?
Yeah, I think we were feeling confident, just knowing, though, that if you turn the corner too quickly, there's a SuperContest 2x4 just waiting to smack you in the face.
No, that's true. I guess feeling like seeing the board maybe a little bit well, and even in some of the losses, sort of knowing where you went wrong. So this last week, we go 2-2-1 in the SuperContest. Overall, we are now 29-20-1, 29.5 points. You lose ground in this thing unless you go 5-0. 4-1, you lose ground most likely. I just think we need multiple entries as we move forward. But just quickly on the SuperContest, we've been doing this thing for more than a decade. And I know I mentioned this off the top of the program, but you pick 5 games against the spread every week. And there's probably 1,500 to 2,000 entries. It's $1,000 to get in this thing. And it is super competitive. There was a guy this week that has 7 entries. And he went 5-0 on 6 of them. Now, granted, he had Indy in Germany against the Patriots, some luck there. Vegas against the Jets. He had those 2 games in all 6 of those 5-0s. But it's tough. So anyway, we go 2-2-1. Our 2 dumps, Titans -1 versus Buccaneers. I was on the Bucs there, by the way. Ravens -6 versus Browns. A little bit of a tough beat there. We brought the Lions -3 in from your 5. We pushed there. Ties aren't good enough. I almost want to avoid playing the number 3 moving forward in a game like that, unless I really like it. But I'd almost rather play a home favorite -3.5 than -3.
That's a great point. We got to really think that's on me as well. What are you going to do? I apologize to my wife. I apologize to you.
No, you're good. Well, just tie isn't good enough. Colts -1 at the Patriots. In Germany, we hit that. Patriots were running all over the Colts. Tom Curran, by the way, says Mac Jones can't start week 12. I agree. Raiders +1 versus the Jets. A little bit of luck there, as I alluded to, but we could have done better than Raiders starting quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, and, Colts, Gardner Minshew. So I thought about that with my week 5 selections. I'm going to talk to you about the leaders and the basement of the contest. Anything from you on the 2-2-1, which really were submitted at the hands of Jon Anik this week a little bit. You're like, I got it.
So we were in New York City with our producer, Cody Marrow, after UFC 295, and he was just like, Colts, dude, I'm telling you, Colts, right? And it got there, but I don't even know if it was necessarily the right side, but I do think it speaks to a broader theme, and this is what our producer was getting at. Fading Zach Wilson and Mac Jones is never a bad idea, and conversely, as we look ahead to this next week, you might see me land on some really elite quarterbacks, even if maybe situationally it doesn't seem to be the best spot for them, right? Like, you can do worse than betting on Joe Burrow catching 4 points tonight, right? Maybe not a great spot for the Bengals. Maybe they're banged up. Can certainly do worse. I mean, he made a couple throws last week, even though by and large they weren't good against the Houston Texans. Just spinning it and then doing the Alex Poatan-Pereira celebration. If you don't know, UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Poatan-Pereira.
Aren't you going to do it for us?
You pull back an arrow? What do you do?
Yeah,
you pull back an arrow?
Pull back an arrow. That's fine. So 2-2-1. I want to talk about the leaders of this contest because it just fascinates me. So
I look up to these men and women.
100%. So the dude who had a lead, he had a 3-game lead. That lead is gone. So I'm the capped one, goes 1-3-1. So, when we go 2-2-1, I'm like, all right, the leader goes 1-3-1. They are human, but automatic with an O-T-T-O, Matic was in second place. He goes 5-0. He is now the new leader, 37.5 points. But another guy that was tied with automatic, Taft 69, goes 0-5, right? So he's in second place, goes 0-5. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. Just very close to being as hard. I wonder if we truly 9.5 points. The top 10 is 33.5 points. So a couple good weeks. And when I say good weeks, that means you go 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
8 out of 10, almost not 8.5, 9 out of 10 to even still be in the conversation. I almost don't want to look at the standings unless we go 5-0.
So we need a 4-1.
So the new loser or in the basement, and this is relevant because the loser of the Super Contest, if you select 5 games every single week and you are the worst, you get $100,000. So the entry is Chuck A. Fox, MD. So I think Dr. Fox, I don't know where he is, but I don't know, might not be the sharpest end of the year, might not want Dr. Fox operating on you necessarily, but he goes 2-2-1 just like us, but he is now 14-34-2, 15 points overall. That's tough to do, averaging 1.5 wins per week, right? Through 10 weeks.
I wonder recreationally if I ever won the lottery or got to a state of financial freedom where I could have my daughter Tatum do a Super Contest entry, right? And just say, honey, just fill this out. Just fill this out.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it,
yeah,
right? My son, his name is Hunter. He wishes his name was Houston, right? So I gave him the board last week. I said, just give me a winner. I went through all the teams. I said, Houston Texans, catching 6.5. Houston Texans, right? I'm just saying. I wonder how my daughter would do if she just filled it out.
Yeah, but
probably
same
50%.
thing with like an NCAA tournament brag. Yeah, probably 50%, exactly, which is a lost exercise. You're in television. You're going to look at the third camera. You're going to make a little eye contact with the wide lens. You're just going to fucking sit there with your camera one.
I was actually going to go through the Super Contest Week 11 lines when we get there, because when we do tape on a Thursday, that is an opportunity afforded us that we can look at the Super Contest lines. We can look at the lines on DraftKings Sportsbook. We can bring these Super Contest lines to our viewership. So my plan was to go on the 3 shot for that particular exercise. But, you're driving the bus, the famous book by Mo Willems, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. All you.
I am very curious how many times I've said, today.
I'm here to talk about the NFL.
All right. So we're more than halfway through the NFL season. Thanksgiving is approaching, and as usual, this league has been absolutely bananas. This weekend should be no different. We'll be camped out in front of our respective television sets, action all over the board. We at Anik Squared are here to elevate your game, and to that end, we are happy to announce our partnership with our title sponsor, the ultimate game changer, DraftKings Sportsbook. an official partner of the National Football League. DK Sportsbook is excited to bring you all new customers an easy way to join in on the action right now. All customers download the DraftKings app, use our promo code SQUARED, that's SQUARED, bet just $5, and boom, $200 in bonus bets hit your account instantly. So don't wait, get some skin in the game and download the DraftKings app now. Stay in on the action, use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays, combine multiple bets together from the same game for a shot at an even bigger payout. And if sports betting not yet available in your state, don't worry about it. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up using promo code SQUARED and get your game face on. Bet just $5 on any wager and watch as $200 in bonus bets instantly light up your screen. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Head-to-head, 5 picks against the spread. Week 11 always gets me sitting up a little straighter in my seat. The buys for Week 11, Mr. Anik, Falcons, Colts, Patriots, Saints. No buys coming up next week in Week 12. So this week, I think, is really one of those weeks where you have to really lock in when you don't have as many games. It wouldn't surprise me next week when there are no buys for me to look at the slate and be like, oh, I kind of like the way the board looks. Yeah, there's a lot more to choose from. So here, as you always say, 13, 14 games on the board, we have to select 10 of them on Anik Squared because we can't be on the same side of either game.
Right.
But I do think when we get to the picking the contest, when there are buys, even if it's only 4 teams and not 6, when there's less to pick from, you really got to discriminate when you nail down those 5.
All right, I'm going to read the SuperContest lines because they are out. I'm going to read them, as Adam Sandler would say, at a medium pace so as you can digest them, but I'm not going to go too slowly. So Thursday night game might have evaporated by the time a lot of you ingest this very program. Ravens -3.5 home to the Cincinnati Bengals. That line was 4. It's 3.5 in the contest. Cleveland Browns laying 1 point home to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Houston Texans -5 home to the Arizona Cardinals. Green Bay Packers +3, 3-point home underdogs against the LA Chargers. Washington Commanders -9 home to the New York Giants. Jacksonville Jaguars -7 home to the Tennessee Titans. The Detroit Lions -7.5 home against the Chicago Bears. Miami Dolphins laying 13.5 home against the Las Vegas Raiders. Dallas Cowboys 10.5-point favorites at Carolina. San Francisco 49ers laying 11.5 home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. LA Rams +1 home to the Seattle Seahawks. Buffalo Bills -7 home against the New York Jets. Denver Broncos laying 2.5 at Mile High against the Minnesota Vikings. And your marquee matchup, Monday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead -2.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sure would like to hear you call an NFL football game at some point in your career. So we picked 5 games against each other. John edged me by half a game last week, so he'll have control of the board. But we are going with a consistent modus operandi from moving forward on Anik Squared. So whoever takes the first selection, next guy gets the next 2, and so we go from there.
Yeah.
So for you, since you won last week, you can either pick to have the first selection or you can pick 2 or 3.
I'm going to take the first pick of the week because I think more confident about this game than I do the rest of my 5. First play for me. First play in the new studio. Dallas Cowboys -10.5 at the Carolina Panthers. Anyone who has watched Anik Squared, shout out to all 10,000 of you who watched last week. So Dallas had a similar situation earlier this year, you may recall. I think I was on the Cowboys, double-digit road favorites at Arizona. They lost outright 28-16. That was in week 3. I think this might be the pivot point of the season, at which time the Dallas Cowboys prove to all of you and to me that they can actually win the Super Bowl. So CeeDee Lamb said this week he's the top receiver in this game. I expect him to go out and back that up. Rico Dowdle is emerging. I might have to pick him up in fantasy football. Young legs. Looks like he's about to go off. On the other side, the Panthers have scored 15 points or fewer in 5 of their 9 games. 15 or fewer in 5 of 9. Only the New York Giants and the New England Patriots have worse point differentials in the NFL. Cowboys then home to the Washington Commanders 5 days after that game on Thanksgiving Day. I think it's a big opportunity to get 2 double-digit wins. I know here they need to win by 11. Short span, 2 games, inferior opposition. Got to get the first one here. I think the Cowboys win big in Charlotte. Dallas -10.5. Put it on the board. Yes.
Absolutely fucking love it. Sorry, Mom. She doesn't like the F-bombs, but I agree, bro. And I almost moved that to my number 1 selection as well. I alluded to, I just got to talk about it. You know, it's like, if Dallas doesn't mess around early in these games, they are so dangerous with a lead. And like CeeDee Lamb, the bona fide star, anyone who ever talked about him being a 2, no way. I just think Dallas is very confident. If this game was in Dallas, what's the line? 17, similar to what the line was against the Giants last week. Bryce Young just not quite ready. And so to me, Mike McCarthy, I'm not the biggest fan of him as a head coach, but I do kind of like him calling plays. I feel like Dak Prescott sort of is responding well to that. To me, I understand Dallas has lost to San Francisco. They lost to Philly, but they take care of the shit in this league. And to me, if I'm San Francisco or Philly, this is still the team I don't want coming down. That's the blowout on the board to me. Been a lot of line moving over the last few days. That line didn't move at all. Nice selection there. I'm going to have to shift already. My first selection, Fins up down to Miami. Dolphins -12 versus the Raiders. It's already 13.5. So Miami coming off the disappointing loss in Frankfurt to the Chiefs. Down 21-0 at the half. Did shut them out in the second half there, though. Did shut down the Chiefs. Now, the Dolphins playing against the Raiders. I will say I'm all about, as I said last week, the McDaniels-less Raiders. Can't get enough. I think there's chemistry. I think there's juice. But to me, this 1 o'clock game on the East Coast, not that I'm saying the West Coast team traveling gets me very often, but the Dolphins right now, you're 2 games clear of the Bills. You got to take care of the teams you're supposed to beat. It's well documented. Dolphins haven't beaten anyone. Any really great teams this year, but they take care of the garbage. Same way sort of the Cowboys do. Aiden O'Connell, only 126 net passing yards for the Raiders last week. You're going up against the greatest show on turf. I do think that the Raiders and Max Crosby could give the Dolphins some problems early, but I just see again, Dolphins scoring 30, Raiders struggling to get to 20. You have the best offense in the league against the second to last. Big discrepancy here. Fins up. I think they cover the 12.
All right, as we snake this draft, so to speak, you have to make a second selection.
I was going to say, where are you going? My second selection, we're going to stay right down here in Florida. A bounce back spot for the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. -6.5 versus the Titans, my second selections. I just think it's another blowout. Jacksonville loses 34-3 at home to San Francisco last week. 4 turnovers. That game could have been a little more competitive. We both like San Francisco. Huge oversight last week not to be in the contest. But I anointed to Adam Shine and other guys anointing the Jaguars to the best team in the AFC, and I most certainly was not doing that last week. But this is a different spot, and I think this league is very much week to week. I look at these two teams going in very different directions. It's the 3rd straight road game for Tennessee, traveling in 5 of their last 6 because they had that game against the Ravens in London. They are 0-6 away from home, including that game in London. Haven't scored a touchdown in 3 of those games. I know how much you like Will Levis. I think this might be a worse spot for them, and they lost 20-6 at Tampa last week. I think Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, they get it right. I think they give the fans in Duval County something to celebrate. A lot of people don't like the Jaguars here. I do. Jaguars -6.5, my second selection, week 11.
Duval County, I expect that to go up to 7 if it has not already. I do like the Jaguars -6.5. Not in my 5, incidentally. Second selection for me, and I believe I can bang 2 straight here, right?
Yes,
am I wrong? It's a bang, bang. Who was the comedian, the stand-up comic who, Louis C.K.? No.
It was on Louis C.K.'s show. I don't remember the heavy set comedian there, but basically they did a bang, bang where you go out to eat back to back. So, you go to Chinese food and then you'd go have pizza. Right. Bang, bang, right after. Right. So go out for pizza and then you go have sushi right after, So
I did a bang, bang, bang with my daughter on Tuesday because she got a tooth pulled. And so I wanted a frozen Coke from McDonald's. And that was sort of mixed into this pre-planned bang, bang that included Chick-fil-A and another stop, Jamba Juice. So it was a bang, bang, bang without much time in between. Second selection of the week for me is going to be the San Francisco 49ers -11.5 home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's another bet here on an elite NFC team and a big time just turn the other way and fucking swallow all the points. Right, Bub? You like that? Just turn the other way and swallow the points. Oh, I got to get it together here. So this Buccaneers defense, I guess they've done pretty well in terms of not allowing a ton of points, but I don't like this Bucs defense. San Francisco's passing offense is efficient. It is great. They haven't even totally unlocked it yet. So the Buccaneers also, by the way, I have in my notes, have that data point last week added to their defensive numbers, right? 6 points. They held the Tennessee Titans to 6 points. Tampa Bay on offense, they will score 2 offensive touchdowns or fewer. That's guaranteed. Maybe they get a defensive touchdown. 2 offensive touchdowns or fewer for Tampa Bay. They may only score 1. Can't run the ball. 703 yards rushing for Tampa Bay total in 9 games. Miami Dolphins had 1 running back run for 203 yards in 1 game. Devin Achane. I like San Francisco.
Almost.
Devon Achane.
Almost.
Gosh, man, I need phonetics for non-mixed martial arts athletes.
Yeah.
I like San Francisco up to 13.5 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Niners minus 11.5. That's a play for me. And that will transition us right to another pick, right? We're going 1, 2, 2.
Yeah, but quickly
right?
before you go to your next selection, I would have been on the Bucks there. I'm not. Nope, not on it. But the Bucks 4-0 against the spread on the road this season. So,
you're a big trends guy, huh?
Nope,
you like trends.
I'm not.
Okay.
No.
So you were going to be on the Bucks.
No, I don't like analytics. I like fucking eye test, fucking amateur.
All right, nice. So you're not on the Bucks.
No. That was an alternate. It was an alternate selection.
You might be. All right, second play for me, and this speaks to me not loving the board.
Hey, does that new camera pick up that sweat stain on that Milwaukee hat, or is it just for me to see it from here?
See, I always use Per Plus to wash my hats and
to watch them.
To watch them. Yeah,
I'm just curious because it's
so. I usually wash my hats with Per Plus if I'm going to work out in them. And I did not get the chance to do that with old Milwaukee here. And we pay the price. By the way, great hat at Home Depot, a little flex fit, Milwaukee.
I'm going to Milwaukee this weekend, by the way. APFC. Shout out.
Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. You and Bilal remember the name Muhammad. All right. Third selection for me. This speaks to me not loving the board. I'm going to go all the way to Monday Night Football to make sure we get this one in. Super Bowl 57 rematch. In this case, both teams have extra rest. We'll take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 2.5. Not going to overthink this one against the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you need a breakdown when I bet on a team that's this good on both sides of the ball? I guess I could tell you that Kansas City hasn't totally gone off offensively the way Andy Reid nor Patrick Mahomes would like, right? Their defense has been a big part of the story. The offense has scored just 30 points spanning its last 2 games. I think they make enough big plays to win this one at Arrowhead. Kansas City 27, Philadelphia 23. I mean, Jalen Hurts could play out of his skull piece and this could go the other way. But at that key number, 2.5, I do like Kansas City. They're 1-1 in their last 2, right? They did bounce back nicely against the Miami Dolphins. Andy Reid, Patty Mahomes, extra rest, key number. Kansas City on Monday Night Football minus 2.5. You like that or no?
Yeah, I do, but I'm seeing that at 3. I didn't see that at 2.5 anywhere.
All right, so we were supposed to tape in this studio yesterday. It was 2.5 all day. Listenership will back me up on that. Is it 3 right now?
Oh, I'll give you the 2.5 all day. I guess I lean that side. But I'm going to move right along. I'm going to move right along. Move right along. 2 down. I got 2 coming up right here. I'm a little surprised that I'm doing this. I'm souring on this over the last day and a half, but I'm going to roll with it. As I said, this league is week to week. Give me the Buffalo Bills minus 7.
Wow.
Versus the New York Jets.
Wow.
I'm looking for a lot of teams to respond after bad weeks, and the Bills are one of those teams. So the Jets beat the Bills this season already. Week 1, 22-16 after Aaron Rodgers went down. So the Bills are 5-5. Bengals could be 5-5 after tonight. It's just amazing. So they go at Eagles and at Chiefs after this matchup here against the Jets. I thought the Bills defense did a lot of things well Monday night against Denver, and Sean McVay knows it. Sean Payton knows what he's doing. All right. And Russell Wilson is starting to figure things out. Like that Denver team was absolutely ready to play.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was as bad for the Bills, even though they end up losing the game. Certainly had a chance to win it. But I still believe in the fight of this team. They ran all over Denver on that last final drive. It was like 5 rushes, 33 yards, no passes, punching in. And Josh Allen still did some incredible things. I know he did some bonehead things. They got Ken Dorsey out of there, which I think makes great sense. Ken Dorsey. But so the Jets have scored 31 points total in their last 3 games combined. And so unless the Bills have given up on their season here, they should have gotten to 6-4 last week, but they didn't. You got to get to 6-5 with these 2 road games coming up. I think they cover the 7. I just don't believe in the Jets. There's a little bit of the fade here, but they're going to be underdogs the next 2 weeks. I got to take them when they're favorites here. Bills minus 7, my third selection. Anything from you before I roll to number 4?
Please.
I think I'm going to take one from you here, and this line has most certainly moved. My 4th selection. Houston Texans minus 4 versus the Cardinals. I don't think you had it based on that look. So Kyler Murray, James Conner, both back, produces a win at home. Like I said, different test here with the Houston Texans and the most valuable player in the National Football League, Ohio State's CJ Stroud. So the Cardinals 1-4 against the spread away from home. And I've said, like, I love watching Kyler Murray run around. He makes a lot out of nothing, unbelievable. But when you look at sort of meat and potatoes, 3-11 on third down last week, 11 penalties. I just think there's a letdown here against a team on the rise that I'm looking to play. Texans 5-4, balanced offense. They are a team people. Can you? I think we're actually talking about the Texans as a team people might not want to face in the postseason in the AFC. It's unbelievable. So, to me, I just like CJ Stroud. We talked about the eye test for these young quarterbacks. The game does seem to slow down for this guy. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot. You're going to go to beat Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, then you come home and you're going to give it away to this Arizona team. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't love laying points here, but give me DeMeco Ryans and that crew. It's 5 now. I'll only lay the 4. That's my 4th selection.
If I were to be on a side, it would absolutely be the Houston Texans. I like that you're not.
I think
Cowboys
and Texans in the contest.
All right, so I get to make 2 final selections here.
Yep.
So last game's out for me. I can admit this now. So the Rams +1 home to the Seattle Seahawks. I just like historically how they've done in that matchup. I think the betting line suggests that Matthew Stafford is going to be back, and with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, I will look to have a Los Angeles Rams ticket coming up this weekend. 4th pick of the week for me, Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants +9.5 at the Washington Commanders.
Wearing the shirt.
Yeah, we're wearing the Washington Commanders shirt. We got Terry McLaurin's number 17 on the back. Yup. We do.
Playing against him.
Yeah, I'm playing against him. I was just trying to mess with you there a little bit with the t-shirt today. Thanks for reminding me what I was wearing. New York Giants +9.5 at the Commanders, right? Inter-division game, 2 of the worst defenses in the league. So I guess this is just a bet on the Giants to be competitive enough to get this one home. Statistically, on both sides, the New York Giants are the worst team in the NFL.
Really?
So I just, Commanders being this big of a favorite against anyone, they barely beat the New England Patriots, right? I love a lot of the offensive weapons for Washington. I could go 6 deep on how much I love their offense. I like Sam Howell. But they lost to the Giants 14-7 in week 7. Now we shift to North Englewood, Maryland, and they got to win by 10. I just don't see it. We spent a lot of the time on these airwaves last year talking about Brian Daboll and the New York Giants. Can he get this team within division to be competitive, or are they just going to mail it the fuck in? New York Giants +9.5 for me. I also like the Raiders +13.5. You got all these people. This number just continues to go up, right? 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, 12. I like the Raiders, but I'm not going to have it in my 5.
Well, I don't. The Dolphins at 12. I think the Dolphins win by 3 touchdowns.
Is that what you have, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that line just yesterday.
But last week, our boy Cody's buddy, we saw that 17 points with the Giants and just couldn't believe, all those points or whatever with the Giants against Dallas. And it's like,
can't bet it high enough.
Well, right. Exactly. So
right. Final play for me. Green Bay Packers +3 at Lambeau Field.
Love it.
Home to the Los Angeles Chargers. I can't believe, though, I'm betting on Green Bay here, right? I mean, it's a bet on Jordan Love. It's a bet on Matt LaFleur, who I like, even though I think he has had a tough year. He's getting a little bit of a bad rap. But Brandon Staley's group is favored on the road here. And as we've said repeatedly, Justin Herbert, he's just different without some of these weapons. I thought he had a great game, obviously, last week. But no Mike Williams. Joshua Palmer not walking through that door. Green Bay's got a quick turn, obviously. I think they're at Detroit, right? Packers +7.5 on the look ahead at Detroit. I think you get a big effort out of Green Bay right here. And again, catching 3 points at home. So maybe it won't make the contest for us because it's right on that 3 and we don't need ties here. But to round out my 5 for week 11, we'll go with the Green Bay Packers +3 home to the LA Chargers.
Jordan Love makes certain throws where I'm like, wow, this dude is really going to be another Packers quarterback that plays in this league more than a decade. And then it's just week to week where I just don't know. But I would lean that side. And the Chargers, it's like, their defense has such a great performance a couple weeks ago. I know against a different opponent in Detroit, but it's like betting on the Chargers is not, you are not going to find me sitting home betting on the Chargers very often. It's a layoff for me, dog. Often. And dog, DAWG, my final selection. And it's hesitant, bro. But it's the Bengals +4 tonight at the Ravens. Oh man, it's interesting. There's a league that I do where I pick the games, every game against the spread every week, but there are half points in every line. So you're not going to get a 3. There are no pushes, right? So yesterday it was 4.5 in this league. I like the Bengals plus 4.5. Today it went to 3.5. And I took the Ravens minus 3.5. I just feel like I want to root for Joe Burrow tonight, and I'm going to do it. This was an alternate selection because I was on the Cowboys. So Bengals plus 4. No T. Higgins. Just love Joe Burrow. I think they have a great chance to win the game. I didn't feel as though the Browns had a great chance to win that game at Baltimore last week, and they did. I have a better feeling about Cincinnati going in and winning this game. As I said, they're 5-4. They need this game. Burrow is great when there's pressure. These games play each other tough. The Ravens went in and beat Cincinnati earlier in the year. I just expect a really competitive game here. And the home field advantage, I don't think it makes a huge difference. It was an alternate selection for me because the Bengals defense got absolutely torched last week, but the Ravens didn't do a ton on offense. So I think that's where the game's going to be decided, what Lamar Jackson and them can do against that Cincinnati defense, because we know the Ravens defense has been incredible, but I think Joe Burrow will be able to do some things. But I'm going to ride with the Bengals tonight plus 4. I think they need to win the game. Not going to be surprised to lose that one outright.
All right, Vikings plus 2.5 at the Broncos. I kind of like that play as well. We'll see where it ends up on DraftKings Sportsbook. Real quick before we bounce on out of here, look ahead to Week 12. Packers plus 7.5 on Thanksgiving Day at the Detroit Lions. Also, next Thursday, Commanders plus 9.5 at the Dallas Cowboys. I would think a lot of people would want to lay Dallas right now minus 9.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. And then the 49ers minus 3.5 in the nightcap at the Seattle Seahawks. And then I believe for the first time, Black Friday, we have an NFL football game, the Miami Dolphins minus 6 at the New York Jets. So quick turn for our producer, get this one out, and then we're right back with our Week 12 selections next Tuesday or Wednesday.
I love it. So real quick, my 5, I'm just going to get to just recap real quick. Dolphins minus 12 versus the Raiders. Jaguars minus 7.5 versus the Titans. Bills minus 7 versus the Jets. Texans minus 4 versus the Cardinals. And the only underdog Bengals plus 4 tonight at the Ravens.
All right, do I want to put the Raiders plus 13.5 in place of any of these games before we get off the air? My 5 right now, Cowboys minus 10.5, 49ers minus 11.5, Chiefs minus 2.5, Giants plus 9.5, Packers plus 3. We'll stand pat.
Yeah, no chance we're putting the Giants in the SuperContest. Just not letting DeVito carry my action. At the helm is Cody Merrill. We appreciate you as always, brother. Good luck cutting this up from the new studio for the great Jon Anik. We appreciate you all being with us. My name is Jason Anik. Join us next week for Anik Squared Week 12, hopefully after a 5-0 in the contest. Check out jonanik.com for all the Anik and Florian podcast merch. We will be releasing Anik Squared.
Do you know how to pick up a camera? We've been on fucking camera 3 for the whole outro. You know how to look at it?
I was looking at camera 2, right in my fucking wheelhouse. That's my ISO. There you go.
Cody,
I'll look at camera 3. Anyway, we're going to get the out of here. For Jon Anik, I'm Jason Anik. We'll see you next week. We appreciate you being with us. Yo, later.